January might feel like the off-season for gardening, but guess what? It's actually one of the most crucial months for setting your garden up for success. Whether you're dealing with frost, snow, or just plain soggy soil, stick with me because I've got the solutions you need to tackle the winter blues and make this your best gardening year yet. All right, let's talk winter gardening. Now, I get it, stepping outside in January can be less than inviting. The cold wind, the icy paths, and the thought of leaving a cozy blanket. Yeah, I've been there. But here's the thing, even in the dead of winter, your garden is alive. Beneath that seemingly lifeless surface, there's so much going on. Dormant roots are resting and storing energy, preparing for spring. Hardy greens are braving the cold, quietly growing. It's a little like magic when you stop to think about it. Of course, winter gardening isn't without its challenges. Shorter days, freezing temperatures, unpredictable weather sound familiar? But hey, don't let that get you down. We're not just here to talk about the problems, we're here to solve them together. So grab a warm drink, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever makes you happy, and let's dive into how to tackle January gardening challenges head on. First things first, know your zone. If you're in the U.S., you've probably heard of USDA hardiness zones. These zones are like a guide for understanding what your garden can handle. It's all about knowing what kind of weather your plants can survive. For those of you in zones 1 to 5, where winter feels like stepping into a freezer every time you go outside, protecting your plants is priority number 1. Think about frost blankets. These are like cozy sweaters for your plants, and they help keep the frost off. Mulching is another great way to protect your soil. When you lay down mulch, it acts like an insulating layer, keeping the roots underneath warm and safe. And let's not forget windbreaks. Strong winter winds can be tough, but creating a little barrier with stakes and burlap can make a huge difference. It's simple, effective, and your plants will thank you for it. If you're in zones 6 through 10, where winters are a little more unpredictable, preparation is still key. A sudden cold snap can sneak up on you when you least expect it. You might think, oh, it's mild this winter, and then bam, a frost warning pops up. So don't let your guard down. These same tips, frost blankets, mulch, and windbreaks, are just as important for you. They're your insurance against surprises from nature. Now, let's talk about sunlight, or honestly, the lack of it. January days are short, and sometimes it feels like the sun is on vacation in some tropical paradise while we're left here in the cold. If your plants aren't getting enough light, here's a simple trick. Move your container plants to spots that get more sun. Even an extra hour or 2 of light can make a big difference. And if you're working with indoor plants or seedlings, investing in grow lights can be a real game changer. It's like giving your plants their own little sun to thrive under, even when it's dark and gloomy outside. Plus, grow lights are super easy to set up and use. Then there's the soil. Oh, the joys of winter soil, frozen, compacted, or soggy. Sound familiar? If you've got heavy clay soil, adding organic matter can really help. Think compost, shredded leaves, or even some well-aged manure. It not only protects the soil from getting more compacted, but also makes it healthier for planting later. And if you're dealing with waterlogged soil, raised beds, or pots with good drainage, might just be your best bet this time of year. They give you more control over how much water your plants are sitting in, which is a big deal during winter. Let's not forget frost protection, one of the most important things you can do for your garden in January. If you know a cold night is coming, grab some frost cloths or even an old bed sheet and cover your plants. It's such a simple step, but it can make all the difference. This little barrier helps keep the frost off and keeps the plants a little warmer. Adding mulch around the base of your perennials is another great way to insulate the roots. And if you live somewhere with heavy snow or strong winds, windbreaks are your best friend. A simple setup with stakes and burlap can save your plants from damage and stress. You don't have to overthink it, even small efforts can go a long way. So there you have it. Winter gardening might seem overwhelming at first, but with a little effort and a few simple strategies, you can set your garden up for success. January is a month of preparation, of quiet growth, and of laying the groundwork for the seasons to come. Your garden may look sleepy now, but trust me, the work you put in this month will pay off in a big way when spring rolls around. So bundle up, grab your tools, and get out there because even in winter, there's a whole lot of gardening magic to be found. Winter watering. Watering your plants in winter might seem unusual, but it's essential. The key is balance. Most plants rest during the colder months. They're not actively growing like in spring or summer, so they don't require as much water. However, this doesn't mean you can skip it entirely. Too much water can harm your plants, causing root rot or other issues. So, how do you decide when to water? Simple. Focus on times when the soil isn't frozen solid, especially during dry periods. Here's a quick tip. Stick your finger about 2 inches into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. Be cautious, though. A small amount of water is enough in winter. The soil should be damp, not overly wet. By observing your plant's needs, you'll keep them healthy until the warmer months return. Choosing the right plants. Let's discuss what you can grow in January. Yes, even in the middle of winter, you can still cultivate some fantastic plants. If you're in colder regions, focus on frost-tolerant vegetables. Kale, spinach, and winter lettuce are excellent options. These plants are hardy, resilient, and thrive in cold conditions. They're ideal for filling your garden with fresh, nutritious greens even in chilly weather. If you're in a warmer area, your choices expand. You can plant crops like garlic, onions, or even start early spring veggies like peas. And for flower enthusiasts, there's no need to feel left out. Planting pansies, violas, or hellebores. These flowers bring vibrant splashes of color to your garden, brightening up those gray winter days. Seed starting. Here's a little tip that can improve your gardening experience. January is the perfect time to start seeds indoors. Don't worry if it seems tricky, it's actually quite straightforward. All you need are some seed trays, a quality potting mix, and a grow light. Once you have those, you're good to go. Begin with vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, or even herbs such as basil and parsley. Plant the seeds in the trays, keep the soil damp, and place them under the grow light. In just a few weeks, you'll see tiny green sprouts. There's something truly special about watching those first signs of growth appear. By the time spring arrives, you'll have strong, healthy seedlings ready to transplant into your garden. It's such a fulfilling process and gives you a head start on the growing season. Indoor gardening. If outdoor gardening isn't possible due to the cold, don't worry. You can bring gardening indoors. Setting up a small herb garden in your kitchen is an excellent idea. Imagine having fresh basil, cilantro, or parsley within reach while cooking. It doesn't get more convenient than that. Another fantastic option is growing microgreens. These tiny greens are loaded with nutrients, and they're very easy to grow. All you need is a shallow tray, some soil, and seeds. In just a couple of weeks, you'll have fresh greens to add to salads, sandwiches, or even smoothies. Indoor gardening is not only practical but also a wonderful way to keep your gardening passion alive during the winter months. Planning for spring. Winter is also the perfect time to plan ahead for spring. Grab a notebook or a piece of paper and start sketching out your garden layout. Think about what you want to grow and where you want to plant it. If there are any seeds you'll need, order them now so you're not rushing at the last minute. Another thing to keep in mind is composting. If you haven't started yet, winter is a great time to begin. Collect kitchen scraps like fruit and vegetable peels, coffee grounds, and eggshells, and add them to your compost bin. By the time spring arrives, you'll have nutrient-rich compost ready to improve your soil. And remember, gardening is a journey. It's not about getting everything perfect or doing it all at once. Take it one step at a time and enjoy the process. Each season brings its own opportunities, so make the most of them. Before you know it, those cold winter days will give way to the warmth of spring and your garden will be full of life.